Hey folks, welcome back to another Opponent Masters video, and now that Eggmons are actually really relevant for Legendary Arenas, right? A lot of techs are really good in there. Supports are obviously always good. I thought let's actually go over for once the new Eggmons, at least for this update. Well, not just new, but overall in the next Eggmon event, right? So next Eggmon event I think is Water and Ice, right? So Water and Ice, actually there's a lot of really nice Eggmons. So the Eggmons that you get from this event are Shellder, Horsey, Seal, Lapras, and Squirtle. Obviously, none of these evolve into anything past Gen 1. But anyways, let's check them out then. So, Shellder, let me see. The shinies are, you got Tech Squirtle, right? You have Tech Squirtle is shiny. You have, I think, shiny Seal is Horsey's also shiny. Tech Horsey is shiny. Tech Squirtle is shiny as usual, and then Striker Seal is shiny as well. So those are the three shinies. There's three different shinies that you get over here, right? Again, Tech, Squirtle, and Horsey, and then Striker Seal, which is a special striker. So let's check them out. Let's start with Shellder, I guess, / Cloister. In terms of stats, let's just quickly, let's assume we max it out. Not 20 out of 20, but you know, max out it as actually relatively good speed, right? Most techs have good speed. HP's not the worst, I guess, for Eggmon. 184 in both defenses, 238 on attack. Can't really do anything much with these stats. Alright, so let's check out Tech Cloister. You have Whirlpool over here, which gives you Trap, obviously. X Speed, and Mark gives you defense, special defense, and crit. And then Razor Shell over here has a chance to lower the opponent's defense, right? And then you have Unbending, Crit Strike 1, Salmon Reserves. I'd say it's not the worst, right? Definitely not the worst. For example, I feel like you could probably use them against something like an Uxie, right? Something like an Uxie could be it could be some use. Obviously, always Entei being, you know, water type, you could do it over there. Although I really wouldn't see him doing that much damage, so I don't feel like he's gonna be a huge contributor, right? Even though he is water type, with like something like a Crit Strike 1, Razor Shell, or whatever. Because against Uxie, you do need interference, right? So stuff like, again, Trap, Flinch, Confusion, all that stuff, right? So I guess it could be useful for Uxie, right? For Whirlpool. I mean, it's decent. You have someone who could, afflict the opponent as well as have a decent chance to debuff the opponent's defense, right? Then you have like defense buffs for yourself. So if you do have them at a decent, affinity level / stars, you could maybe tank 1 or 2 sinks before he goes down, right? Also, X Speed with the speed is always fantastic to have overall. So I think he could be maybe useful for something like an Uxie, right? So moving on, let's check out the where's Cloister? There's Cloister. Let's check out Support Cloister over here. None of the Cloisters are shiny, by the way, right? So in this same batch, defenses are not the best. HP is also not that great, and then speed's also not good. Man, these support stats are really bad. Anyways, 1 gauge spam and water gun, which is always going to be useful, right? Just because it's as a support, you have 1 gauge spam. X defense all is nice. Stand together. Defense and speed of all their allies increased by 1 rank. And water pulse, 20% chance of confusing the opponent. You have vigilance over here, right? First aid 2 and unbending. I wouldn't say he's of much use in general because he doesn't really buff a lot of offensive stats for your team, and he's not that great of a tank, right? And he doesn't really do much else for your team overall. But if you throw him in there against a like purely physical legendary arena, right? Something like maybe Cobalion, right? Cobalion's basically purely physical, right, throughout. That could be nice until the 3rd phase where it starts Sacred Sorting, which obviously ignores all defense buffs, so that doesn't really matter there. But maybe something like that, right? Or some other purely physical legendary arena. Are there any other ones? Is Regirock? I think Regirock has like Hyper Beam though, right? Which is obviously special. Yeah. He has Hyper Beam. I mean, although it is only for like the third bar, I guess. So like maybe you could also run him against Regirock, and then hope your damage dealers pull through at the end there, or any other units that maybe you need, like Tough Cookie or something like a Raihan as Tough Cookie, right? Doesn't have that great of a way of getting it himself, so maybe you could do that, or just to patch up some certain units that self debuff their own defenses, maybe. But yeah, the extra little speed is nice to buff for your team. Unbending for units that debuff your defenses. Obviously, in this case they can't do that. All right, let's check out Special Striker Cloister. Generally, I'm not a huge fan of Eggmon strikers. They're generally just overall worse than a lot of non Eggmon strikers of the same type, right? But this one's actually pretty decent because you do have Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump, obviously one of the strongest. It's one of the top 3 gauge moves in the game, right? 350 special attack at max affinity at 5 stars, right? If you do have the resources. X special attack, race you. These are all just decent buffs overall, right? Your passives kind of suck, right? Power Reserve is not that great. Super duper effective, obviously only 10%, and only against water weak opponents, right? But maybe against an Entei could be of use sometimes, right? Or maybe against Moltres, right? Who's also weak to water. But it's just that there's just so many other great, fantastic water type strikers in the game. It's rarely would someone be that down bad to have to use an Eggmon striker. But I do think it's better than something like a Sea King, though, right? It's probably one of the better water type strikers in the game, in my opinion. Probably might be the best now that I look at it. But anyways, regardless, let's move on. So that's all the Cloisters. Let's check out the Cdras here. The first Cdra, I mean, the stats are going to be the same. We're not going to really look at the stats. At everyone, have 1 gauge spam and bubble, which has 10% chance to lower the opponent's speed, which is not a very good chance. Let's be real, right? X speed for yourself, speed gradual heals for yourself. It's gonna be very, very fast. So you could definitely run him as like just a gauge support that does like almost nothing else on your team. Muddy Water, 30% chance to debuff accuracy. This is obviously, you can't rely on this, right? Plus, the big upside of Sea King is just to 1 gauge spam with very, very good speed, which I've run a lot of units like that, right? For example, Pinsir. I've been running Norman Pinsir in my Legendary Gauntlet runs. He's actually a really, really nice unit because of the fact that, first of all, he could heal himself, take 1 or 2 hits, and over here Cdra has a gradual healing, which is actually pretty nice, right? And then most importantly, he's the Pinsir is very, very fast with a 1 gauge spam, and then Cdra here could also maybe take in that role, maybe not as great defensively, maybe not take that many hits, although you do have gradual heals here, but it just has a 1 gauge spammer. It's basically you're running Cdra for like a 2v1 situation, but as a third, you speed up your sync move countdown process, right? Which overall obviously helps your team. Can't lower your speed, pinpoint entry spammers. This is all trash, right? This is all just whatever. Moving on, support Cdra. You have bubble, another 1 gauge spam, X speed all, let's brainstorm, and then bubble beam, right? Your passives, revenge boost 1, first aid 2, and haste. This is okay, I guess. It's a good speed buffing support that could also max out, if it has a +4 special attack, you can max that out. Bubble is nice 1 gauge spam, right? As for anything else, it's okay, it's solid. You could definitely use this to top off of any special attacker, right? Defensively, it's not that great. It has first aid 2 and then revenge boost 1. I don't know. I feel like it would have been better if we got another defensive passive over here instead of revenge boost 1, right? Because it's already generally decent, like gauges wise, because you have a 1 gauge spammer over here already, and then you max out your team speed. I think it would have been nice if you had something else in here instead, and also something else for haste. But you have to throw in one of those trash passives, I guess, for all these. Special Striker Cdra over here. We have another Hydro Pump damage dealer. Race you, X special attack. It's basically Cloister, right? This is basically Cloister. Crit Strike 1, Power Reserves 2. I think it's a bit better than Cloister, I guess, in this case, just because Crit Strike 1 instead of Super Duper Effective 1, which is obviously a bit more applicable across the just across spectrum, right? Anyways, All right, next let's check out Blastoise, I guess. Blastoise is just for those who you know, never got him before. The Tech Blastoise is very good. Tech Blastoise is the shiny one, right? Also, it kind of sucks that the shiny for Cdra might be the worst of all three, I feel. I mean, I don't know. It's okay. It's just a very, very nice gauge unit. But then again, that's kind of a low bar. Anyways, Tech Blastoise is a shiny one. Definitely the best one. It's a Rain Dance unit, so it gives you an extra rain unit, right, for all your water type teams. So very, very good. Get some defense buffs here as well, which is nice. Both moves are 2 gauges, unfortunately, but you do have Racing Rain 2, which it helps your gauges, aggravation. So yeah, a decent chance to confuse the opponent on Water Pulse, which is nice, I guess, in of itself, just to confuse them. Support Blastoise is actually decent as well, but you know, for Blastoise, 90% of the time you will be using Tech Blastoise, so the other ones don't really matter, honestly. Right, it's just a special attack buffer, max out special attack, give speed, which is again good, but like you will almost never be using it over the Tech one. As for the Striker one, this one's kind of whatever. As Hydro Pump, again, it's not the Hydro Pump water unit, but your how's it kind of work? Yeah, Piercing Gaze or Hydro Pump doesn't miss, I guess, so that's nice. But like Power Reserves 2, kind of trash. But yeah, again, you won't really be using any of these Blastoise over the Tech Blastoise. So anyways, moving on, let's go check out the ice types. There's 2 ice types. It's Seal and Lapras, right? Let's check out Lapras first. So the shiny one is the special one, right? Special Striker Dugong. This is the shiny one. Let's it's a Blizzard unit. X special attack, keep it up. Oh my god. Yeah, not very good. Blizzard's not that great. I mean, actually, I take that back. Blizzard's actually pretty good in Gauntlet, especially when most of the opponents are going to be single target, right? Except for the fact that the one that's weak to ice, which is Latios, has 3 units alongside it. So that does slightly suck. I mean, I guess you could, if you're super down bad, like you cleared like 2 gauges of Latios and then like your team dies, and then like you just have like a bit more to go. Just that last gauge, you could throw him in with like some other like really bad units and then like get a clear with like for a 2-for-1, 2 teams versus 1 legendary, which again, a bit of a waste because you don't want to clear a arena with the 2 units, but I guess you throw them in. But yeah, there's really only just that Latios 3rd gauge that's weak to ice. I mean, I guess he's okay. Let's see what else we have. Support Dugong over here. X special defense. I really don't like these, which only buff stats for themselves. Even though, yeah, okay, we're a defensive unit, but yeah, why not just give it X special defense all for your whole team? But yeah, it's special defensive tank. You have first aid over here. Range boost, no shelters. Again, whatever. Ice beam, 10% freeze. That's something, I guess. It's not the fastest. It does have +2 speed, but you know, the base speed's not that great. And then you have 2 gauge moves. Not a huge fan of these. Not a huge fan of units like these, right? You know, again, if you're really down bad for like a special defensive tank, there's, you know, certain units that mostly are only special defense offensive units, I guess, that could help a bit. But yeah, not a huge fan of this one. Tech Dugong, you got X speed, hang in there. Gradual heals, defense buffs. It's a hostile environment ice beam unit. Turns your terrible 10% chance to freeze the opponent into what, 20%, which is still really bad. And freeze really doesn't do good against almost any of the Legendary Gauntlet units. Even something like Cobalion, it's not really good to freeze. Go freezing at Cobalion. Lapras, honestly, let's just check out the tech here. This tech's the most important one. It's a hail unit. The tech Lapras is the hail one. Also does, I guess, have Icy Wind that could debuff the opponent's speed, which is something for like Latios, I guess, because you need to debuff that thing. Have some defense buffs, gradual heals. This is all really nice. This is definitely, I feel like, the best Lapras. As for the other ones, again, it's similar situation to Blue, right? it's like, yeah, like these are decent, right? Almost literally the same. Max special attack plus speed is support, right? When your tech version is the weather setter. Natural remedy, quick cure again. These are nice passives, right, to have. Especially against some units like an Entei, like a Tornadus maybe, right? But again, most of the time you will be using the tech one, just set hail. Unless you don't have that many hail units, and I guess the support one's actually not bad to use. This one's kind of whatever. I mean, Striker Lapras is, yeah, no, none of these are really great. So anyways, that's me this one. I guess I hope you all gentlemen guys think of the comments down below. Like just the videos, right? Chaffles are more fun than it's gone. I still haven't gotten my shiny vault picks, unfortunately, because I really want shiny Ninetales because it looks so good, but I haven't gotten it yet. I've gotten like a billion shiny Charmander, shiny Magnemite. So good luck with you guys in terms of hatching your eggs. So have fun then. I'll see you guys in the next one.